Hey guys, good evening. Good evening. You get to see me in the car driving. Let me put on my seatbelt properly. Because the police are definitely on the road. How are you? It's Tuesday, which is a little bit different from me typically going live on Mondays. I wanted to go live earlier today, but that did not happen because I was in a meeting and then I needed to finish some work. So I decided I'd come on tonight instead. I missed last week Monday and then I did not go live yesterday. So I said, you know what, I cannot miss 2 weeks in a row where I have a pledge that I made to myself unless something, something, I don't want to say catastrophic, but in case something out of the ordinary happens, then, that's excusable for me. But other than that, I would try my best going live every single week. So I'm driving to my destination, so this will not be long because I'll have to hop off before then so that I could use Google Maps, right? But I wanted to talk to you about full-time entrepreneurship versus part-time entrepreneurship. I know that a lot of you are thinking about entrepreneurship. A lot of you are thinking about what that might look like for you full-time. A lot of you are scared to do it, understandably. And so I kind of want to talk about that, talk about some things that are related to that, namely the things to consider before you quit your job. Okay, but for those of you who do not know me, my name is Shana E. I am a pricing and positioning strategist. I am an entrepreneur. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I am extremely invested in helping MSMEs in particular grow their businesses. The owner ultimately help you become profitable and dominate your market, right? And so I would appreciate it if you would share this out, if you would share this broadcast out, if you could tag people, that would be great. I do think that I still have my privacy setting on. So maybe you can't share this out right now while I'm live. I may have to change that setting once I get off. I don't think I can do it right now. Okay, so that's number one. But thank you so much for joining me. For those of you tuning in live and who are watching on the replay, I really appreciate you. So I wanted to talk about entrepreneurship, right? It's something that a lot of people are interested in. It's a buzzword that's been becoming more and more popular over the last several years. It is something that I think a lot of people think it's easier than it is. I knew that it was going to be a challenge, but I didn't realize how hard it would be until I was in it full time. I knew that there were some challenges when I had a full-time 9-to-5 job, and then also I had my business part-time, right? Whatever business it was at the time. But it's a whole different ball game when you decide that your business has to make enough money weekly, daily, weekly, monthly for you to pay yourself, and that's your only source of income. That's a different level of gutsy, okay? And I did not have an appreciation for it until I did it. Over the last several years, social media has made it seem like you quit your job and you don't want anyone to tell you what to do, and you don't have to listen to anyone. You get to be your own boss, so many things. And yet the reality is you go from having one or two bosses to, in a way, to an extent, your customers and your clients are now your bosses. So you could go from having one or two to having 10. I'm not saying in every way, but I'm saying that you ain't in control as much as you think you are in control when it comes to your business, your customers, and entrepreneurship, right? There are a lot of people who despise their full-time job. for various reasons. It could be that you're bored. It could be that you're not being mentally stimulated. It could be that you want a change, you're not interested. It could be that you hate the environment, you hate the people that you work with, you don't like your management is not good, the environment is toxic, whatever it is, right? Whatever it is, there are a lot of you who hate your jobs. But the reality is that your job, unless it's toxic and affecting you mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, your job is actually the thing that I think you may underestimate. Here's why. Your job allows a layer of stability that you just don't have when it comes to your own business, right? And so what happens is a lot of times when we are first in our businesses, especially if we are having to rely on our business to pay time, sometimes we have to do work, especially in the beginning, that we don't want to do. We have to work with clients that we don't necessarily want to work with. Or it's like, okay, well, I know this person is going to be problematic, but I really need that money. Whereas with entrepreneurship that you're doing part-time, to an extent you get to say, you know what? I have other income coming in. I really could turn this person down. I could turn this person down. I don't need their money that bad. I can take a break. I can take a vacation. I am just not feeling it. I am not capable right now of taking on any work, of delivering anything. So I could take a step back from the business, and then you still have money coming in from your job. So it provides a level of financial stability that, y'all, I can't even explain. I cannot even explain for you and the lessening of anxiety that you can experience just by having that sure weekly, bi-weekly, monthly paycheck. And those are two very different feelings, okay? Another thing you have to be mindful of too is that if you want to get loans, if you want to get a mortgage, a car loan, or like a cash advance on your pay, whatever it is, you are more likely, it'll be easier for you to get that. Again, depending on your employer and how much you're being paid, but it will be easier for you to get that if you have a job, okay? Let me tell you all a little story time. I'm a consultant, right? Along with being a business owner, this TREP is a consultancy as well, right? I do coaching, I do sessions, but I also do consulting. So I had a contract. I had a contract for 2.5 years. Good paying contract. And in that good paying contract though, for whatever reason, one of the terms for the contract was it was going to renew every 6 months. Now, something catastrophic would have to happen for me to be removed from that contract, right? Or have the contract taken away from me. But for whatever reason, like I said, they worded it that they would have to renew the contract every 6 months. And it would almost be automatic. Like there would be times where I even forgot to say, hey, as a reminder, y'all renewing me, right? Like that's how it was. And then they didn't even ask. It was just like money kept going in. I was still expected to do the work. I say that to say that when I went to get my car, it was through a small loan financing in-house for my car. And I put down more than the required deposit to show them that I was serious and I wanted the car. And I told them, hey, I'm going to pay more than the minimum payments required because I want to pay this off early. And y'all, what was supposed to be a simple process took several weeks. I mean weeks. Because they were concerned that my contract renewed every 6 months. Okay, I'm telling you this for a reason. They were concerned that my contract renewed every 6 months. So imagine an entrepreneur who is not make, and they could see how much I was making in that contract every month. They could see the life of the contract, right? Because it was supposed to be a 2-year contract. They could see all of that. They could see how much money I was making every month, how much money I was making for the duration of the contract. That did not matter to them. It was, we're concerned because this contract renews every 6 months. That is what they cared about. Now, like I said, it was a good contract. This was not a low-paying contract. So here goes. Imagine someone who is an entrepreneur who's just starting or not quite established, maybe not having the paper trail that someone who you're asking to give you a loan would want. But you have that paper trail, you have that regular pay stub, you have that backing from your job. Again, it depends on how much money you're making. It depends on the company that you're working for, because some of these employers, because of their ways, their employees cannot get a loan, or it's hard to get a loan, right? So I'm not saying that automatically because you have a job, you can automatically get a loan. I'm not saying that. I'm simply saying that to get a loan, to get a mortgage, to get a car, whatever, can be more challenging. And so remember that as well. There are some things that we jump up and we do, and we have to count the cost. That's just the reality of it, right? For some of you, you get insurance through your job. So what happens then? Listen, insurance in this country is both a luxury and a necessity at the same friggin' time, okay? Sir, why did you cut me off? It's a luxury and a necessity at the same time. And so what that means is you really should try to have insurance if you can get insurance. At the same time, insurance is friggin' expensive, right? And so for me, for example, my insurance is well over $400 a month, okay? There are some of you, because of your jobs, praise God, you don't know what it's like to pay insurance. The company pays it, or you pay a percentage of it. So what happens is, when you give up that job, you give up that insurance. You are suddenly like, how in the world am I going to pay this money every month, right? And don't let you have dependents. Then that's a whole other, I don't have dependents, right? I don't have dependents yet. So my price is fairly low in comparison to some other options out there, okay? So be aware of that too. Count the cost before you say, you know what, I'm going to walk away from my job. You need to consider how much money do you need to make to cover your bills, including your insurance, including your living expenses or whatever. And you know what, in an ideal world, and I'm saying this in an ideal world because the real world, we live in that. In an ideal world, the money that you make, the money that the business makes is not 100% of your money after expenses come out. Whatever you get paid is a line item in the business, okay? So all that means is you don't get to all that means is that you don't get to, if you get $1,000 in your business from a job, and the job itself cost, maybe the expenses of the job was $200, so now you have $800 left. That $800 is not for you. You get a percentage of that $800 as the employee. You don't get to keep 100% of the profit for yourself because you're the owner, the CEO, the whatever. That's not how it works. So you need to work out how much sales you have to cover your basic needs and all of your obligations. School fee, mortgage, rent, electricity, car note, gas. What else am I missing? Phone, internet, insurance, life insurance, health insurance, you know. Now, hair and nails, they're not a necessity. Now, they feel like the nails thing is a little bit of a necessity for me. But, and you know, that's just me. But I'm saying though, right? Like, you have to count the cost before you decide to walk away from your job. Do not despise your job. Now, you may, or do not despise having a job. If you don't like your job and you don't like the environment of your job, or you don't like what you do, that's different. But to hate 9-to-5s in general, and you're not ready, you're gonna have a rude awakening. And y'all, these are the conversations that I wish I had with somebody. I wish that I had the forethought to sit down with someone and have them explain to me exactly what life was going to be like. I wish. Okay? And so I'm having the conversation with you that I wish I had with someone, that I wish someone had sat me down and had with me, that I wish I had thought about. Count the cost. It's not all bad to have a job. And I said it before, I said it this year. If you see me have a job, a full-time job, a consultant job, whatever it is, don't feel sorry for me. That was an intentional decision. Okay? Because things have to happen. You know, it's difficult. It can be challenging depending on your business, depending on your skill set, depending on your products, your services, your business model. It can be difficult to grow the business, to scale, because growing and scaling usually means that you have to add help and you have to pay for that help, right? And then add on top of that you have to live, and not just, you know, you don't want to live at the bare minimum, but you want to be able to do more over time. And you want to be able to take on more obligations and live life and enjoy life a bit. And then on top of that, you want to be able to save. And then you want to have goals that you're working towards. And sometimes, quite frankly, that requires more resources than your business is giving you at the time. And so you may need a full-time income to supplement. It's okay to do both. There's no shame in that. I have no shame if I go get a 9-to-5. You should have no shame if you decide to stay and still work the business. And in fact, you have an advantage, because if you find that your business has a shortfall while you still have your full-time job, then at least you have some money from somewhere that you can reallocate to make up in your business. If you are living off of your business full-time, ain't no money to reallocate. Now, I do say this though, and I experienced this for myself. All of this I'm talking from experience. I experienced this from myself. There are some of you, and I've done this, where because you are putting so much money from your full-time job into your business, you're not realizing that your business is an expensive hobby. You're not, like, it hasn't dawned on you yet that your business is not making money yet the way that it should. Now, mind you, there are a lot of businesses that take years to be profitable, or breathing room profitable, right? Where you can get a little bit comfortable. That can take years. But there are some of you, for example, if it takes, let's say, $800 to run your business every month, and your business is bringing in $500, you say, okay, no problem, I'll just take $300 out of my full-time job money. Except that you keep doing that, not realizing that for the last 3 years you've been taking money out of your full-time job money, because your business has never been able to make up that $800 minimum. Okay? Remember that it takes 10 years to be an overnight success. Now, social media has shortened that time a bit, but ultimately it takes years for most people to be an overnight success. And you should never covet becoming an overnight success without putting in the work and laying the business foundation. And here's why. Because it's like building a house on sand, right? As soon as the wind blows and the sand shifts, your house is gone. You can become an overnight sensation. You can go viral, quote unquote. But what can happen is, if you don't know how to run a business, you don't understand how to run a business, you just know that all of a sudden you have an influx of orders, you could really mess yourself up, and your business can get really messed up. That's the equivalent of you kind of just started baking cakes for fun, realize that you enjoy it, you like decorating it, and then you say, you know what, yes, I can take an order of 50 mini cakes all in one day to be delivered, except that you have your one regular house oven, you don't have help to help you bake the cakes, you don't have help to help you decorate the cakes, so you doing all this by yourself. You're trying to figure out where to get the supplies from, you're trying to figure out how you can deliver these cakes, you're trying to figure out how you can do all of this, and you're trying to figure out how to do all of this the night before your bake cake order is due. And you could really, really mess up your reputation before you start. So there's nothing wrong with slow and steady. I promise y'all, there's absolutely nothing wrong with slow and steady. There are so many people that I look around and I'm like, I love this for y'all. And I love what they're doing because it's slow and steady. And one of the people I want to shout out who just commented is Mr. Nathaniel Adams, right? With Wicked Wings. Love it. Quality, slow, and steady. Okay? They are a great example of slow and steady. And then the momentum snowballs. You know, the momentum will snowball as long as you care about what it is that you're doing. There have been times when I said, you know what, I really should have been further ahead. There have been times when I said, you know what, I really, like y'all, I have a conscience. I can't scam people. I can't, you know, I'm not a smart girl. It's not that I don't see opportunities to do some things, but I can't scam people. And I can't talk people into things that they don't need. I can't talk people into, you know, so for me, you know, me being scrupulous in some ways, and for us who are scrupulous and have standards about how we do things and principles, it can feel like it's a slower pace and it can feel unfair. But I promise you that's the best way to be, because again, you're building a solid foundation, not based on scams, not based on shifting sand, not based on faulty, cracked foundations. That is super, super, super important. Okay? So I just wanted to talk to you guys quickly about the implications of full-time entrepreneurship versus part-time entrepreneurship. All that glitters is not gold. Let me tell y'all, like, yes, this is the goal for a lot of us. Absolutely. But it's the goal for a lot of people, right? Full-time entrepreneurship. But let me tell you, if you could find a way to make a plan, which I suggest you do, make a plan and you work the heck out of that plan and you say, I'm going to commit to this plan for 6 months, a year, year and a half, 2 months. And can I tell you, put away money. Put away some money. Y'all are just driving now because I know I'm in the area of where I need to go, but I know exactly where I'm going. Put away money. Put money aside. They say that you should have 6 months of emergency money put aside. Put some money aside. Put some money aside so that if and when you decide to jump off the cliff, I'm not telling you to do so, but if and when you decide to jump off the cliff, you have money set aside so that you're not immediately in a panic, in an anxiety of, this business needs to make me $2,000 so that I can live next month, because you would have that money put aside. That is extremely important, and I cannot emphasize that enough. Put that money aside. Make a plan, okay? If you need to, and I was having a conversation with a friend over the weekend because she's trying to figure out what to do, and I sit down with people. That's part of what I do. I sit down with people and we decide, okay, what's the plan? What can we work? What can you do? How are you going to put this in motion of what you really want to do. What's the end goal? Okay, well then you spend this time, you put money aside, or you start gathering and getting your equipment together. You start buying your inventory. You start working on the website. You start working on getting the supplies, getting the things that you need. You doing your research. You're not just there like, oh, I don't know what to do, and then get emotional one day and quit. No, babes, don't do that. Now, if the Lord tells you it's time, then it's time. I got y'all, story time as I wrap up. I got fired. First time in my life, I got fired from a job. When did I get fired? I got fired from a job, and it was a shock. When I say it was a shock, like when I leave jobs, typically it's like, people are like, oh my gosh, is there anything we can do to change your mind? We would love to have you stay. We're sad to see you go, but we understand. Or can we do anything to get you to rethink? That's regular for me, okay? And so when I got called into the office and I was fired, I was like, wait, what? What you mean, me? But, and I'm telling you this story because God orchestrated that. Because before I went there, I said, okay, I'm going to be here for about a year. I'm going to learn as much as I can, and then I'm going to move on. And I'm probably going to end up moving into entrepreneurship. And can I tell y'all, and I just felt a peace about that. I felt like God told me that. Can I tell y'all that I got to about the 9-month mark. It was about the 8 or 9 month mark on that job. And me being arrogant, said, you know, God, that's okay. Give me a year and a half. I would really like a year and a half instead of a year. Give me an extra 6 months, please. And then, you know, then we can make some things shake and bake, you know. And I was being disobedient. And because I asked God to give me a year and a half, and yet I was not preparing myself because I knew entrepreneurship was going to be the next phase. I didn't prepare myself. I didn't sit down and think about, Shannon, what do you really want to do? What products and services do you want to offer? What industry do you want to be in? Like, who do you want to serve? What do you enjoy doing? I didn't ask myself any of those things. I didn't take the time. I just said, God, I need another however long. And my arrogance said he was going to do it because I asked, right? Y'all listen to me. This water so deep I driving through right now. If you see the car turn upside down because I dropped in one pothole, and I'd never been through this road before without water. That's why I'm driving so slow. Anyway, praise God I don't hit. Lord, my heart and my throat. Okay, let's focus. I should stop and ask this man if any holes in this road. Oh Jesus. Okay. So, I don't laugh. I'm being for real. Yeah, so I was arrogant. I was extremely arrogant. And God gave me exactly what he told me he was going to give me, which was a year. So when I got called in that office, and when I tell y'all I got called in the office the day before my 1-year anniversary on that job. And of course, pride, right? Because I said, you know what, I should take them to the labor board and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. God said, stand down. You ain't doing all that. Stand down. Because you were fighting to stay there, and I'd already told you that you weren't supposed to be there longer than a certain amount of time. So what are you fighting? What are you doing? Okay? So if you feel led, that's what I'm coming to say. If you feel led that God is leading you into entrepreneurship, can you please prepare yourself? Don't be like me. Arrogant, don't know what to do. I'm having the conversation with you that I wish I had with me. I wish someone had with me. I wish that I had asked someone to have with me. But you don't know what you don't know. That's what I'm saying. You don't know what you don't know. So I want that to be clear. Just prepare yourself. So that's all I have to say. I'm gonna hop off. Feel free to leave me comments as well. Yes, absolutely. Most people do quit their business in the infancy phase because we're impatient and we're not realistic. We expect that things are going to go a certain way. We expect that this old concept of build it and they will come, we expect that to apply. We expect that if we tell people we're selling stuff, that immediately we're supposed to be sold out. We expect that when people say, oh, if you start doing this or if you start selling that, man, I could pay you. Not realizing that, and no offense to them, a lot of people just talking. Or they mean you well and they do want to patronize you. And they were genuine in that moment. But sometimes people change their mind. Sometimes they no longer have a need for whatever it is that they said they would want you to pay you for, etc., etc. You know? And don't be mad at friends and family because you feel like they should buy from you and support you. They don't owe you nothing. If they don't share a flyer, they don't owe you anything. Okay? Because I can tell you now, there might be someone who, in my family, for example, let's say that Nathaniel and I were related, right? And he does Wicked Wings. Okay? And then I'm like, well, I mean, I'm pescatarian. It's true. I'm pescatarian. I'm not ordering wings. But I could send 1 million people to you. But if your version of me supporting you is that I am only supposed to buy from you and you don't care about the fact that I'm referring people to you, that's a you problem. That's a you thing. Okay? Just be mindful of that. People don't owe you anything. That's where instead of us being what's it called, like, oh, people owe us. No. How about you learn marketing? How about you learn how to market? How about you learn how to sell and not rely on guilt tripping people or acting like people owe you? Absolutely, strangers make the best clients most of the time. You absolutely have to give your business time to mature. A lot of times we talk about how, and it's a real stat, right? 80% of businesses fail in the very first year of business here in the Bahamas. I think in the US it's like 70% of businesses fail here in the Bahamas. And one of the things I think that we have to remember is that I think, honestly, businesses fail for not just because of money problems, but because it's a market fit problem, because it's a lack of marketing. There's a lack of patience. There's a lack of research. I mean, I laugh sometimes when people talk about being hesitant to share their ideas, to share their business ideas. And this may sound confrontational and even rude, but I will say it anyway because I am me. Many of us don't have groundbreaking ideas to be stolen in the first place. Now, I'm not going to name off any particular business niche or business type, but I will say this. For some of us with the business ideas, all someone needs is $300 or $500, and they can replicate your business just like that. Because what makes it different? Low barriers of entry to the industry that you want to be in, which means that any person who decides that they want to be in the industry and who has the money can start that business. Do you have any particular type of expertise that makes you stand out, right? If you don't, then again, anybody can come in and replicate your business. There are a lot of us, we don't have groundbreaking businesses, and that's part of the problem. Or we don't think about how can we make it different? How can we stand out from everybody else? And then on top of that, a lot of times immediately we're like, okay, let me start this business and then let me be the cheapest option. Okay. You can look for what you get when you want to be the cheapest option. That's all I can say. Let me end on that. You can look, you're looking for what you can get when you're trying to be the cheapest option. And especially if you want to work in your business full time and have that support you, and you're trying to be the cheapest option, unless you're like freaking Kelly's, Cost Right, Fresh Market, all them people who sell thousands of items per day and they're making enough turnover in volume, which most of us can't because we're small, right? Or a micro, you're gonna have a hard time. Right. No differentiation in product or branding, but expect to not be copied. I mean, y'all decide what's going to make you different while you have that job. Experiment while you have that job. Really take time to craft a good product while you have that job. That's literally all I'm saying. Save up your money while you have that job. Buy your equipment while you have that job. Show yourself that you could be serious and committed and dedicated to this business while you have that job. No. I personally don't believe in being the cheapest option. And if you believe in being the cheapest option, I say one of two things. Either we don't need to work together, or I need to work on your mindset. If you're set in being the cheapest option. If you're set on being the cheapest option, and that's the hill you're willing to die on, I don't know if I really could help you unless you have some type of competitive advantage that makes you able to profitably be the cheapest option. Okay? Meaning you have some plug, you have some great discount supplier, you have some great something that nobody else or very few people can get their hands on. Okay? So thank you guys so much for watching, for tuning in. I'll be back next week, Monday, regular day and time. It's time for me to sign off and go where I'm going, because I'm literally parked on the side of the road right now because I made it through the water, praise God. So thank you. You could have been doing anything else in the world, but you spent some time with me, and for that I'm always grateful. Like I said before, please feel free to share this live out. Feel free to continue commenting. I will respond to you. Feel free to tag someone who needs to tune into this, and I will see you guys later. Thank you so much for watching and commenting. Have a good night. Bye.